Pixie, take a guess at what one of my favorite pastimes are.
I'm gonna guess skydiving.
No, I like to I like to read people argue online.
You like, I thought you were gonna say video games, but that fits too,
No, I like to find drama and read other people fighting.
as you should.
And so, my adventures of scrolling through the internet, the argument I found was people arguing about what makes a gamer and arguing about gaming. And someone had the audacity to say that playing Candy Crush alone will make you a gamer. Do you agree with this?
No, I
No.
almost said a cursey word. No,
As
not with the Candy Crush. No, I don't.
my adventures of the internet led me to finding that argument. So I think now we have to talk about it.
We do have to talk about it.
All right, Pixie. So here is the question of the day. What makes a gamer?
In my opinion, a gamer is somebody who plays video games, whether it's a hobby or serious. I think the argument, like I guess for me, more so is what is a video game? Because, like, to me, Candy Crush is not a video game. It's like a mobile, like a phone, like passing time. Like, I don't consider that a video game, right? To me personally, anybody who plays a video game consistently is a gamer. But that's just my opinion.
In my opinion, the gamer is someone that is in touch with the lore of gaming. Like you can name multiple games and understand the basics of what it is. I think it's keeping up to date. I think it's being excited for the new news coming out and being excited for updates. So in my opinion, that's what a gamer is. I think a person that plays like one game, I guess I wouldn't really consider that. I know that with COVID brought out a bunch of people that wanted to buy the Switch just to have something to do, especially with Animal Crossing, because that came out at that time. And I think it made a lot of people feel relaxed and happy, but they didn't really branch outside of that game, which I think is fine, but they don't care about games besides that one, maybe one other one, but they don't care about the gaming community in itself.
That makes sense. I totally understand why, like, that thought process and why you think that. I don't think I think that way until I hear you explain it. Then it makes sense to me. And I understand to some extent. I think I just mentioned this to you. Some of the most consistent streamers that I've watched have been Animal Crossing streamers, the dedication to, like, to this day, 5 years later, still playing the same game. Some of these streamers are still just really dedicated to it. And I think it's more of like, to them, it's more about the cozy space and the community and the chat more than the game. And the game is kind of just something that's happening in the background. In my mind, they're gamers, right? I don't think of them as being posers or anything like that. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I understand where you're coming from, where it's like I put the majority of my life into, listening to game soundtracks and finding out, like, what is this company making next, or what are the reviews on this, or what's the next game coming out. And it's your hobby. It's the thing that you carve out time for,
It's a
fill up your time, I
passion.
guess. Yeah, it's something you're passionate about. It's something that's very interesting. Kind of like how some people, like how they feel about movies, right? I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think I'm of two minds of it.
I kind of gave this example before with you, like a soccer player, someone that, likes to play with friends here and there. They don't call themselves a soccer player though, but then someone that takes it more seriously. And that doesn't mean that they're like in big competitions, but they consider themselves kind of a soccer player because they take it seriously. Not that it has to be a career, but you want to be a part of that community. I guess the thing that I think is interesting is how bad these people want to be considered a gamer. The thing I think is weird is how bad they want to fight for that title. Like it's a trophy, as though they earn a real life trophy. And there's not a trophy. Who cares if this random person says you're not a gamer? But they really want to be acknowledged as one. I play Candy
That makes
Crush
sense.
every day. I'm a gamer. And someone says, no, you're not. And then they want to really fight for it.
It sounds like they're looking for a fight
And they might be. And I'm right there reading it.
with your popcorn.
I'm enjoying it.
No, that makes sense. Like I understand what you're saying. It does make sense. So you're basically saying that not people who genuinely enjoy one or two video games, it's people who just want to be seen a certain way, kind of like the way you're viewing it, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way. Oh no, here comes a child. Oh no, it's a dog. Wait a
Is
minute.
it a child or a dog?
It's a dog. Hold on. How did the dog get in? Hold on. Sorry. Our German Shepherd has learned how to open up the screen door and let herself in. Okay, I'll let you finish this.
Okay, so basically, the way I view gaming and people who call themselves gamers is kind of like a tree. Like I picture this really big tree, a giant trunk, and massive limbs, right? A lot of different leaves, a lot of different colored leaves, different fruit. Some parts are flowering, some parts aren't. And I picture some gamers maybe are closer to the trunk, some are closer to the roots, some are far off into the branches, some are over here, some are over there. And I picture them all as gamers, right? Because they're all connected to this common thing, right? But I think that when you stop splitting hairs that don't need to be split, a love for a video game is what unites all of us, right? No matter what the game is. Candy Crush aside, may I say, I picture that as still technically a part of the tree, but it's so far off that it's basically like, in Fiji.
Hmm.
It's like a vine on its own, it's way over there. Um,
Candy
but
Crush is a nice little leaf.
it is, it's its own little leaf on a cell phone. It's totally fine. Genshin's on a cell phone too. But I don't know. I think sometimes we can be so mean to each other. And there's a lot of division. There's a lot of, you never know who that Animal Crossing player actually is. It could be someone who could be very interested, in more video games. But if you're so reactive to not accepting them, that, I think that that's a little unfair because they're still part of the tree, technically. And I completely understand gatekeeping to a certain extent, but I think a lot of it is an overreaction when I think if we were to step back and really take a broader look at all of these people who are into the same hobbies that we are, right? I think there's room for everybody. They get a lot of criticism because it's the only game they play, but there are also people who are considered hardcore gamers that all they play is Call of Duty. And, it can arguably be said that it's one of the most negative games out there as far as like how toxic the lobbies can be. Like if you can't, handle that kind of trash talk, you probably shouldn't play it, which is why I don't play it. But they're considered gamers, and nobody says, oh, you're not a gamer, you only play Call of Duty, which, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never heard somebody say that before. But I have heard people say, oh, you're not a real gamer because you only play Animal Crossing. But it's like both of them still only play one game. So what makes one a gamer and one not a gamer? It's just perspective.
Sis,
That's how I see it.
I think that is a beautiful way to describe gaming. And I agree with you. I think because I never really heard the Call of Duty versus Animal Crossing parallels. But I think that puts things into a very different perspective. And I agree with you because when you hear someone saying, I only play Call of Duty, you don't really question much. But when you hear, I only play Animal Crossing, I think that does make people go, meh. And I don't think
Yeah.
that's very fair. So I like the tree analogy. And I agree with you that we should all be considered gamers under this beautiful tree of gaming.
With the exception of people who steal other people's content. I'm not talking about them.
And then the the little grandmas playing Candy Crush can be their nice little leaf off to the side. They'll fall and they won't really care.
Probably not.
But I think in the end we can all agree that the fake gamers out there that steal other people's content are not the real gamers. So we can still gatekeep in there. They're still gatekeeping.
I think that if one thing unites all gamers, it's that people that steal content. Nah, no, you're not one of us. I can
The
confidently say that.
gamers of Animal Crossing and Call of Duty unite, and we will block the
Unite.
gates of one sniper wolf from entering our gate.
Exactly.
I know I said in the beginning that people that play one game typically are not gamers, but after watching a YouTuber that we really like, I kind of changed my mind a little bit. And that is if you if you have played this one game and you've beaten it, you can't just start it, you beat it, then I consider that a gamer, and that's Elden Ring because that game is really hard. And that takes patience. So if that is the one game you played in your whole entire life and you've beaten it, I think you earn the trophy, the invisible trophy of gaming.
I concur. Elden Ring is terrifying.
They rant and